revealed how close the US came to sending troops into Iran before stepping back. The US reportedly waged a ground raid to seize Iran's uranium before backing away from the plan. CNN says Trump paused a high-risk mission that could have put US troops on the ground inside Iran. Trump is said to have held back from a risky Iran ground operation amid fears of another costly setback. Trump's reported 100-troop gamble appears to have hit a dead end as Iran gains room in negotiations.
We
postponed the nuclear issue to the final agreement for various reasons, as it was truly impossible to discuss it under current circumstances. In the current agreement, the end of the war is declared on all fronts, including Lebanon. I have said this many times. We have never forgotten Lebanon in this war. This is the serious decision of the Islamic Republic of Iran, that the future of the Strait of Hormuz, the future of the management of the Strait of Hormuz, will no longer be as it was in the past. If you want to move toward an understanding, the rhetoric must change. If you want to move toward threats, pressure, and war, we are ready.
CNN reported on June 12 that the US military had prepared a ground mission aimed at seizing Iran's uranium. The report said the plan could have sent American troops into Iran to extract enriched uranium. CNN also reported that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs was briefed on the available options. The general later briefed President Trump on possible courses of action, according to the report. Trump ultimately paused the plan after warnings that Iran could retaliate. The report added that Trump also feared heavy American casualties in any such ground operation. CNN said the mission could have required hundreds of special operations personnel. One source told CNN that the operation would have amounted to essentially an invasion. US military leaders reportedly assessed the risk of seizing Iran's uranium as high to extreme. The report also identified Natanz and Fordow as key uranium storage sites in any such scenario. CNN further said a ground operation could have triggered major economic shocks. US officials were also said to fear that Iran's proxies could move to close the Bab al-Mandab in retaliation.
These negotiations, which will lead to the end of the war, are envisioned in two stages. The first stage is a memorandum of understanding to be signed between Iran and the United States. Then, negotiations for the second stage will begin, and subsequently, in the second stage, we will have a final agreement. We postponed the nuclear issue to the final agreement for various reasons, as it was truly impossible to discuss it under current circumstances. The demands they had were in no way acceptable. Therefore, we brought up other issues that could be agreed upon in the first stage and postponed the nuclear issue to the second stage, which is, of course, a more difficult phase for which 60 days of negotiation have been envisioned. In the second stage, or the final agreement, the nuclear issue, alongside the issue of lifting sanctions on Iran and one or two other matters that I will mention at another time, will be reviewed and a final agreement will be reached. In the current agreement, which is called a Memorandum of Understanding and is known as the Islamabad Memorandum, or has been named the Islamabad Memorandum, the end of the war is declared on all fronts, including Lebanon. I have said this many times. We have never forgotten Lebanon in this war, because Lebanon and Hezbollah of Lebanon have, in any case, fought alongside the people of Iran in this war, and we will never leave them alone. In the ceasefire that was announced, the ceasefire was on all fronts, including Lebanon. Now, putting aside the fact that the Zionist regime violated it multiple times, to which Hezbollah responded, we responded wherever necessary, and in my opinion, this response itself was another strategic achievement. For the first time, we were the ones who initiated the offensive to punish a regime that had, in any case, reneged on its commitments, and this was recorded on the global stage as a strategic victory for Iran, showing that Iran is not joking and that if necessary, it is not only not afraid of war but will employ it wherever required. There is the issue of lifting the naval blockade, the discussion of what topics the next round of negotiations will include, the Iranian nuclear issue, the issue of lifting sanctions, and the topic of reconstruction, which has been proposed here in the form of a reconstruction and economic development plan, the mechanisms of which will be agreed upon during the subsequent negotiations, along with other issues that will arise. The discussion of Iran's blocked funds, for which a mechanism has been defined, are matters included in the Memorandum of Understanding and agreed upon in the first stage. I must state explicitly that this agreement has enemies, at the head of which is the Zionist regime, and they are looking for pretext to derail this agreement. Our position is clear. If we were going to yield to force and pressure, we would have yielded long ago. If threats of attacking infrastructure or other threats were going to make us back down, we would have backed down long ago. But that is not the case. Very clear messages were sent to the other side that threats have a reverse effect. If you want to move toward an understanding, the rhetoric must change. If you want to move toward threats, pressure, and war, we are ready. This is the serious decision of the Islamic Republic of Iran, that the future of the Strait of Hormuz, the future of the management of the Strait of Hormuz, will no longer be as it was in the past. When I say the future of management, it is because our sovereignty has always existed, exists now, and will always exist. No one can challenge Iran's sovereignty over this strait, of course, with Oman. But whether the management of this strait, the management of the traffic in this strait, will be as it was in the past, it will certainly not be as it was in the past.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.